And we are live. One last swig of water before we got started.
Yeah.
But now we're starting, and I'm so glad that we made this come together. We've got a great guest.
Yes, we do.
We've got Jenny Winny over here, who is in a little bit of pain today.
No, Daniel, I think what you said to me was, no, it's just in your mind.
It's just in your mind.
No, I got pain, like I said, from this eyeball, this one.
Yeah, I see.
Down to my foot, okay? My foot.
But Jenny, I mean, what's more important, addressing your pain issues or jumping on our weekly LinkedIn Live?
Hey, I'm here. This is more important, okay?
I know. No pain, no gain. Jenny's tough. She was an Allison Brave, man.
Okay, wait a minute. I got to say, good morning, Tyler. Good morning.
Tyler, good morning.
You may not have known Tyler. I was a member of the Allison Braves.
Yeah.
I get to brag, okay? But I'm not even sure. Me and you've been talking lately about, the new stadium, the field, the baseball field in Spartanburg.
The baseball field, yes.
I don't know that they are aware of who we are, okay? Like, I mean, we were with Allison.
Oh, the Allison Braves. They may want us to do like a reunion.
I know.
That we've got to share what the Allison Braves were. The Allison Braves, it was a group of 4 youngsters. It was myself, it was Jenny, it was and our siblings. So we had 4 players on the Allison Braves. We all picked a couple of players to be. And
Let's just say this though.
We played baseball every single day. We played ball every day.
Every day. I was the only girl. Let's also say that every summer we were at Atlanta at the Braves games. Our parents took us. We collected the baseball cards. We got to choose which players. We got to choose 2 players that we got to be. Yeah. And needless to say, so in the rank, my brother was the oldest, then your brother, and then me, and then you. We didn't get to choose the best players.
No, we got
we got the leftovers.
Of course, back then, I don't know who's listening, but Tyler, you may know the Braves back in the day. Dale Murphy was the man.
He was the man.
Played center field.
Yeah. You know what? And that's my brother got to be Dale Murphy. You know who I got to be? You know who I got to be? I got to be True Grit, Glenn Hubbard.
Glenn Hubbard. Oh man, those were great times.
An attractive person, and as a girl, my brother was like, "Well, that's good because you kind of look like Glenn Hubbard."
Yeah. Well, Roger was never one to try to make you feel good.
Feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. He would rather make you not feel good. Jenny, what else is going on besides the pain, the pain you're feeling?
Well, the pain. Yeah. Well, you know what? Right before we came on, you and I, I played like a different intro music, just showing you some.
I did. I liked that.
And I liked it. But then once I started our countdown, there's something about it. When I hear that da 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 da, I'm ready. It's like Jenny Winny the Average Dude. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. Now, and is that kind of
show? When you hear that whistling, it's Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, I was doing the famous dad whistle. My dad does the grandma whistle. And so is anybody home? If you want to know if somebody's home, you go.
What? Yeah. Or that's how grandma would answer me. I'd be like, Grandma. And she goes.
Like a bird out in the wilderness.
Caw.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
Since we were on last time, I had a major meltdown because I dropped my MacBook Pro in a tub of water. Now you might be
in the bathtub or just a tub of water?
Let's go ahead and say in the bathtub, okay?
Okay.
Now, the reaction I had was if someone had tossed a newborn baby into a tub of water.
Yeah. You didn't handle it well.
No, I screamed. Grab, yeah.
It didn't work. It was done. It fried it.
It was, Daniel, I told you I don't cry much, You
don't?
I don't. I really try not to. And I went downstairs finally and I looked at my husband and I was like, you know what? You might as well cut my arm off.
She cried. She won't cry at the thing she's supposed to cry.
I know. I'm like, I'm supposed to cry over something
major falling in water.
Daniel, it's my lifeline.
Yeah. So you got your new one.
I do. And I spent a lot of money on it, but I went the very next day.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, it don't feel right. It feels, I don't know.
Now, did you get another MacBook Pro?
I did.
You did?
Money well spent, Daniel.
Yeah, you like the MacBook Pro. Now, what do you like about the MacBook Pro?
I'll tell you. Because I've always just had, the newest Windows, and, I always replace that laptop every, whatever. And my son-in-law kept saying, if you do a Mac, you will never, ever, ever do another computer. And he's right. It is fast. It's, but see, you also don't use an iPhone, do you?
I don't. No, I like the Google products.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, whatever. I'm just saying you'd love it.
I wonder what Cody. We've got a guest. I wonder which one, Cody. I wonder what was your guess? Knowing what the very little that you know about Cody, does he a Droid or is he an Apple?
Oh God, Cody, please, I'm begging you. Of all that's good in this world, do not use Android. Use the iPhone, please. Please tell me you do.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. We've got that amongst other things. We've got a lot to talk about with our guest, Cody Steiner. Now, Jenny, let me ask you this: if someone that is that does the same thing that you do, they've got a boutique in town, and they call you up, you gonna take that call?
Yeah,
as a competitor now.
I know, but you know what? What is that saying you always say about boats and ships?
Well, rise. All boats rise together.
They do. And so I am, unless it's a competitor that's trying to hoodoo me.
Yeah, but we never know. You got to trust people. That's scary.
I know, but I think that, yes, I take that call. I do.
Yeah.
And I actually support other businesses. I actually post on my Instagram some people locally like, hey, support all of us small businesses. We got to make it. These big box stores are going to kill us.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's find out.
Okay.
Who Cody Steiner is and what kind of phone he uses.
That's the most important thing, Cody. Okay.
Yeah. Here he comes. Cody Steiner, welcome to Jenny, Winny, and the Average Dude.
Welcome.
How y'all doing?
We are
Good morning, man.
middle.
Thanks for having me on. It's an honor. Thank you.
Oh,
absolutely. I had to have you on, man. So
that's
my first question.
You were like, I'm not sure. Am I in the right place? I don't.
No, I knew I was in the right place.
Well, wait a minute. Without further ado, Cody, what kind of phone?
So, sorry, Daniel, but
God.
Apple Watch, iPhone.
Oh, man.
Apple products.
Thank you, Cody. Okay, you know what? If he's my competitor, I'm like, he's doing something right. I'm going with Cody.
Well, I've got to tell the story. This was something that it made my day, actually. So I got a phone call, didn't recognize the number, and got a phone call from someone, and took the call. And he said, he had listened to me on a podcast, Jenny, that I did back in 2020. It's called HVAC Know It All with Gary McGreedy. We haven't had him on here, but he's got a social media. He's in the HVAC business. Long story short, Cody calls me up, and he had heard me on this podcast I did a couple of years ago, and then we had a great conversation. He does the same thing. We live in the upstate, so he does the same thing that I do for a living, which commercial HVAC services. Right, Cody?
Yes, sir. That's 100% right.
Yeah. And I have to say, though, Cody, the fact that you did that, I mean, that says a lot about you.
It says a lot about you.
Doesn't
Honestly,
it?
I don't think it's so much me as Daniel. I mean, I'm a very humble person, and when I tell you, I told Daniel, I was 9 minutes in this podcast. That was 4 years ago. 9 minutes in this podcast, and I just completely resonated with what Daniel was saying just immediately, and I was just like,
man.
I was like, he is hitting home, like just straight to everything he's saying. I'm just like, I resonate with it 100%. I was just like, oh my goodness. So while I was listening to the podcast, 9 minutes in, maybe, I go to his LinkedIn profile. I had to search him, I go to LinkedIn. I'm new to LinkedIn. I just kind of finished setting up my profile today, actually. I've been kind of slacking.
I'm slack with it too, Cody. It's okay.
It's a lot to keep up with. But I found him on LinkedIn, and it said immediately like his location was Spartanburg. I said, "There's no way." I was like, "What are the odds?"
You had no idea that he was even local.
No idea. And like I said, I was only 9 minutes in this podcast, and I was just immediately like podcast was playing in the background, and I'm on LinkedIn. And I have a notebook, and that's the kind of person I am.
You had a journal, looks like almost like a journal.
That's exactly what it is, and it's just a black notebook, and it's just I'm a paper pencil kind of person, so I'm just writing my notes, going along, and I'm looking up his LinkedIn. It says Spartanburg, South Carolina. I was like, "There's no way."
No way.
I was like, "That. What are the odds?" So I was just like, "I have to call him." I was like, "It'd be, in my opinion, this is from my like I said, 9 minutes in. This person who's all this knowledgeable information that he's telling me, and I'm already taking it and absorbing it like a sponge. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to call him." I kind of sat here, I paused the podcast, I was on his LinkedIn, I was like, he's gonna think I'm crazy.
No, he won't.
But I was like, I have to do it. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I called. The receptionist was super nice. She's like, I don't think he's in. I think this is the week of Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken, like a day or 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't think he's in. I was like, well, can you just give me his email address at least? I want to shoot him at least, an email. And she's like, absolutely. She gave me your email, and she transferred me to your voicemail. Wow. I wasn't even expecting you to answer because she's like, I don't think he's in. I was like, that's the problem. I'll leave him this, short voicemail.
Yeah.
But then you answered. And I was like, well, we're here now.
I love it.
I thought we had a great conversation.
Hey, now let me say this. You're saying nice things about me, and I appreciate it. But what I really appreciated about that call was the fact that you made it. Right? I mean, there's so many people that, including myself, I have to tell myself when I have that kind of inclination, because I've seen the results of it, but I have to tell myself, okay, I've got energy. I want to talk. Make the call. Well, they might not want to. Well, you got to make the call. You got to make the call. Yep. Even if you find out that, hey, I got him on the phone. I heard him on that podcast, but you know what? It was all BS. And he said, whatever. You still got to make the call and find out,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, though. That is so ironic. I mean, and I don't know that you'd be listening and you're like, oh God, he's just, because you're in Greenville, correct?
Spartanburg. No, I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina as well.
You went to Broome, didn't you? Broome.
I went to Broome High School, graduated Broome High School.
Yeah. Yeah, probably a few years before my ex-wife, who also went to Broome High School. So.
Really?
Yeah, just a
little. I grew up in Packlet, small town, Spartanburg County, Packlet.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I grew up.
Packlet.
Packlet, yeah.
Packlet. But now you're in HVAC sales. Tell us what it's like. I was there 7 years ago, as you know, starting over in a new industry, and you're there now. What's it like starting over in a new industry, and specifically the HVAC industry?
Because you were formerly doing a whole different field, correct? Like you were in roofing.
Correct. Yes, I was on the roofing industry on sales. I've done that for several years, and then just a little bit about me. I was in the public service prior to that.
Okay.
Young age, like I said, growing up in Packlet.
We're going to dig into that too.
It's not a big town, so there's not a whole lot you can get into, and keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble. So I found those things to do to stay out of trouble, and like I said, we'll talk more, I guess, about that later. But I've always been in the public service for the most part, and I was in sales industry in roofing for almost 3 years. I kind of knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. I wasn't, making an impact, how I wanted to help people necessarily. And I went into HVAC, and this is a huge, career jump, completely new industry. It's scary. I'm scared.
That's what I was saying. Was that scary?
But I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's so scary because you can do all the market research you want on, how's your industry looking, what's projected, and then HVAC is up, and up, and it's a booming industry. But I didn't know that until I started. Yeah. But it's just kind of those opportunities fell in my lap. I couldn't say no. How to do it, and but it's scary. And I think trying to be humble as possible. I was scared. I took the position, but then I started listening to these podcasts, and then I ran across Daniel. I was like, okay, maybe it's not that scary. Yeah. I just need to call the right
people. Average dude can do it, man. Come on now.
No, it's not it. It's just that, okay, maybe this isn't that scary. I just need to be in contact with the correct people, and maybe, and not like I asked you immediately, what simple insight, what advice can you possibly give me as someone brand new to this industry? I don't know a lick about HVAC. So I was just like, I don't know what to do. And
And
that's
that's what Daniel did. I remember him even saying from way back, he said he didn't know what is this thing and what is that? And
Split system. I didn't know the difference between a split system and a package.
yeah.
And
I mean, it's like you gotta be humble enough to ask those questions. That's how you learn.
Well, that's something that Jenny and I have talked about on the podcast. So we had a guest come on, and he was a military guy and did a lot. He was a pilot in the military, and Jenny and I.
This was like our second or third show.
Right. And so she was kind of getting used to the whole interview process and that sort of thing. Well, after the show was over, she asked me, Jenny, what did you ask me?
Well, no, I said, oh, it hit me. He was talking about, I had a prop plane and and then
a prop plane.
Prop. And then he said something. And I was like, it hit me during the show. You see my eyes kind of like, yeah, a propeller. Now, people say prop plane. I don't know I wasn't making, and I felt stupid. And Daniel said, why didn't you say, what's a prop plane? I said, because that's stupid. And he said, no, you never know unless you ask. So after the show, I was like, oh, a prop plane. So now we always go back to that. It's like, if you don't know, don't be humble enough to say, I don't know. You can't know everything.
right.
Yeah. And it gives people a chance to be an expert. I'm sure you're finding that, Cody. Have you found things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing that I try to take away in life is if I can learn something every day, whatever it may be, even in my industry, personal life, spiritual life, whatever it may be, if I can learn something and just try to apply that every day, I feel like that's a success. It's just
Who do you like to learn from? So one of the things that I noticed as I started learning about HVAC, I talked to a lot of different types of people that had been, and everyone has a little bit of different style talking about the same thing, right? I might ask one person and I'll ask the same. They didn't know I was asking everybody the same question. But you start hearing different people describe it. What sort of person do you like to learn from?
I'm a hands-on person. So if I can find that kind of person who can, take me out and explain everything thoroughly, let me put my hands on it, that's the kind of learner I am. So if I can find those kind of people who are willing to give me the time and just, sit down with me, okay, this is what you need to learn. This is what you need to know. This is how you need to apply it. And that's the kind of how I remember it is, okay, I learned this. How can I apply this?
Yeah.
And that's just the way my brain works is just I have to figure out how I can use it, but I have to remember how to apply it. And that's my biggest thing.
My thing too is like, Daniel, you weren't asking me that question, but I'm going to answer.
Absolutely, I was.
To me, it's like when people don't make you feel like you don't know something, they don't try to talk like there's some superiority and everything, and they get down on your level. I learned that way when they're talking to me just like one-on-one, not like, okay, you should already know this. That makes you feel even worse about not knowing something. To me, it does.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I say finding that person who is willing to give you that insight, that knowledge. I'm pretty good at finding those people. I feel like I can kind of, okay, this guy seems like he's really going to help me.
Yeah.
Those are the people I really search for. I search for the people who genuinely care about the trade or the craft or whatever it may be. I like finding those people.
Yeah.
Very helpful people.
One little tidbit that I will share that from my journey of learning HVAC, the people that can explain things simply.
Yes.
It's like the old Einstein quote. If they can explain it, like, as a matter of fact, when I'm using AI now, you've got the voice activated AI. So when I'm having conversations with her, she'll say something and I'll say, explain something, whatever it is that we're talking about. Explain this to me like I'm an elementary school student, something that's completely out of my realm. Because that's the beauty of being able to have these conversations. And then she explains it she does a great job at explaining just the basics. Start me at the ones and zeros, right? I mean, just start me at the granular level. And then I feel like then I've got my head wrapped around it. But then, don't take me too far. I need to understand completely. How about y'all?
Well, I have to say something on this.
Okay.
Because I'm not an electrician by trade, but my husband is. And so I will help him sometimes, and we'll go do some volunteer projects, and I will have to text him sometime because we're around people. And I'm like, hey there, mister, you're going to have to dumb this down. Quit acting like I know what you're talking about. I was like, you're going to make me cry right here on site. So let's don't say go get the I'm just going to throw words out. I know what but go get the impactor and the oscillator and get the connectors and the number 12 wire. Huh? You need to say, go get that black wire and go get that thing that goes, you know. But he says it, and then you feel that they think that they're doing it in a way that you understand, but you already don't understand. And then when they start using terminology, if all of a sudden, Cody, you're new to HVAC and they're saying, and then you get this kind of unit and that, and then now you're like, okay, well, what is that? You have to, it's like you don't even know what they're talking about and they're trying to explain it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you got to dumb it all the way down. I want somebody to take it all the way down for me.
She wants it real dumb. Cody, what do you think?
I mean, you know.
I'm kidding. Cody, what do you think about this?
No, I agree completely. The simpler that someone can teach me something from the beginning and just show me, it's definitely easier for me to pick it up. And that's why I say, back to, okay, like, here's the terminology, this is the industry standard terms. This is things that everyone should know, but not everyone's going to know it. Definitely people that you're trying to communicate with. So that's something that I have to, work on. Is okay, I have to know the terminology, but how can I also explain this terminology and articulate everything?
That's
it.
That's not there.
So everyone can, understand. Okay, this is what he's talking about. Yeah, like you said, Daniel. You have a VRV system, you have a PTAC, you have a split system, a package system, you have the RTUs, but he's throwing those out there.
Acronyms, man.
BBC and the RD, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm going to have to clip this, Cody, and I'm going to share it with my husband. I'm going to be like, just because you know the terms, Cody, does not mean you use them. Okay,
Cody, have you started thinking about the chilled water systems and looking at those sorts of things?
I've been studying on them, but it's a lot. It's a lot of information. It's definitely a lot to learn and take in.
It is, but it's and it's amazing being around people that talk about it. You start learning like by osmosis. I mean, they're paying us to find new work, but you're around these folks and you see repair quotes and you start saying, I wonder what that repair is. I used to do that and Google
like what's that about?
Wrong. And then like, how much would that cost? How much is this bill going to be, for this customer? You start thinking and trying to like guess and kind of test yourself on those sorts of things.
Right.
So it's a lot of, it's a fun business to learn. And Jenny's got a question about it.
I do. Cause this is for both of y'all really. Yeah. So let's say you're trying to learn it. Okay. You're learning and you have this mentor or whatever. Do you go and do you try to learn it his way and other people? Because I've learned just from talking to my husband, and then I'll talk with a different electrician. He's like, well, you could do this. And I'm like, that makes more sense to me.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I go back to my husband.
Ask different people.
Yes.
Ask different people the same question, and that will amaze you.
Yes.
Because if somebody tells me something and it's like, I didn't quite get it, I will ask I'll ask a different person the same question. Cody, I think that helps to, like you say, because different people explain things in a different way and they understand it themselves. Maybe it's from when they learned it.
Right.
But like you say, I don't typically the types of things that I talk about. If somebody says, hey, tell me what you know about that. They're going to know only what I know because I'm careful not to speak over it, but I'll be able to explain it pretty simply because I had to break it down simple for my mind to get it.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
But I've got to tell y'all this funny story that just popped into my head. So I was talking about asking questions to people when they're explaining things. Well, one of my favorite people to learn from, Henrik Blight, he was a guest on our show, really an unbelievable person, Cody. But he was on the show and had an opportunity to talk to him about some things afterwards. So we were on a Zoom call and having a great conversation. And he says he's made a statement, like a setup for whatever he was getting ready to talk about. He said, now let's just take someone that everybody is familiar with and everyone knows. And he named the person. And I didn't know. I had no clue who he was talking about. I'm like, I've heard the name, but I didn't associate it with anything. Like it didn't mean anything to me, And so I can say, oh yeah, ask the question. But in that situation, it's just here, and he's a very intelligent man, and he's trying to kind of help me. And he says, of course, everybody knows. So let's just pick a name that everybody knows. And he said. And we both kind of looked at each other and he's like, you don't know the name, do you? I said, nope. No. you want me to say here.
I'd be like, oh yeah.
I mean, like, so when he prefaced it with anybody that has a brain is going to know the answer to the question. Actually, I don't know that. So that
Anybody with common sense is going to know who this is.
But now, Cody, from my experience, like working in doing HVAC, and also, were you selling commercial roofs? Not to go into your previous job too much here, but I'm just curious, what were you tasked with at your previous job doing commercial roofs?
It was commercial and it was residential. So
okay.
It was a mixture of both. So on a daily basis, I would either be running potential leads on the residential side of things, or it'd also be, going out and making those contacts, churches, commercial buildings, different places like that.
Yeah.
We needed roofs just like everyone else. So, on that side of the industry, it was definitely kind of different. It's definitely different than on the industry is completely different. So the way that you have to contact people, be creative to get in front of people. And Daniel, that's one of those things that on that podcast, I don't know if you remember, but you mentioned Bomb Bomb.
Yeah. That's old school.
Yeah. It's new to me. So that's one of those things. It looks new to me. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, how come I haven't thought about this? And I'm one of those people, I always feel like I'm trying to be creative and I'm trying to figure out, different ways to get in front of people and build a connection and a rapport. Yeah. Then when you brought that up, I was like, that's genius. Like,
now you're going to have to fill me in because I'm not sure what that is.
So proximity is something I talk about a lot. And what Cody and I do, it's not that traditional kind of, it's real hard I can't do it ethically, talk someone out. If a company is communicating with you well, doing a great job, not charging you on arm and leg, don't change. Right. I mean, we're good. Our best hope is to give you what you're getting here, right? So a lot of it is creating relationships, and the way that we create relationships is through proximity.
Right.
They need to become familiar with you so that they trust comes from that. And so the whole game of what the relationship building sales process is creating that proximity, where you can call them, they get familiar with you. Maybe you're talking about other things. Maybe you're helping them with other things. Specifically, what I was talking about in that podcast was sending a video. Mm-hmm. So I would finish I'd go meet with someone and I can remember a couple of times. Anytime I've ever done this, it's actually worked. So why do you stop? I don't know. But after I left, I did a video of, kind of back at the office. Hey, thanks for your time today. That sort of thing. Attached it to an email. They sent it. They opened it up, and then they get to see a video of you talking about them and your experience with them. So it kind of.
And I can say.
It reminds them of the good time they had.
And that's going to be more effective, I would say, because I'm a business owner, okay? Mm-hmm. And I've had someone recently talking with me, and they send me voice memos instead of typing something out, and I can hear the inflection, how they're trying,
Oh, okay. So it's like a recording. Yeah,
what they're trying to convey to me. I mean, Cody, I don't know you, but just sitting here talking to you, if you could get in front of people, you give that trustworthy vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like you seem like just a good person that's just legitimately trying to help.
Packlet, he's got to be good.
Okay, exactly.
There ain't no bad boys in Packlet.
Not Packlet.
Okay. Well,
that exists.
But I mean, really, now I did have a question. I asked Daniel, and so he said, well, just wait till Cody comes on and you could ask him. And I said, well, okay. I would like to know what does Jedi mean on LinkedIn for you?
That's from Star Wars.
Oh, I know. I mean, I know what a Jedi is. So
I told her, Cody.
Hey.
You gotta have a Jedi mindset sometimes. That's all.
Okay.
Now let's see. I'm gonna ask Jenny. What does a Jedi mindset mean?
The way I always portray it is just doing the right thing. It's from a child loving Star Wars. The Jedi is a noble person. They're a warrior. They're there to help you. They are there to do the right thing, the just thing. And I just portray that in the same way that I portray life, is that I'm a Jedi. I am out here. I'm helping people in whatever way that may be. If it's from someone I just met, they need help with diapers or, something like that, I'm always going to help those people. If I find someone who needs help with a roof, and that's just the way I've always
That's
looked
good
at life, is I'm always going to try to help.
Yep.
With that's just kind of the mindset that I have. And that's why I've always just said that.
Well, we all have superpowers, right? I mean, we have superpowers, and it's using those for good instead of evil, right? I mean,
you sound like something I've told my daughter because, well, she's 20 now. But, I was always, like you're saying, that person that's like, oh, I gave somebody a jacket one time that I had on, you know what I mean? Because they needed it. And she goes, wait, I said, because I always feel like this. If it's not going to hurt me, it's not hurting me, it's not taking away from my family or whatever, and it's within my power to do something, I want to do it. I want to help.
I've got to stop here and say something, though, okay? Now, I think it's great. I think it's great that we are, giving, but sometimes when we're overly putting others ahead of ourselves to our own detriment, and I think about my mom in this situation. I'm not going to tell her any specifics in case she's watching and be embarrassed, but Mom is the kind of person just like Jenny, always wanting to give. But I thought, Mom, you're in your 70s. When you're doing something for someone else that is risking your health, because she got her hips bad, and she was telling me about, she didn't want to do that, and so she was going to say, well, that was nice of you, but what if you fail and got hurt? It's like, so how do we find that balance of, helping others and being that way, but also not putting ourselves, I said, it's one thing, Mom, if you fail and hurt your hip and you're running around with the grandkids, but if you're doing something because you didn't want somebody else to have to do it, you know what I mean? Like, don't take that risk.
I know, but we all do it. Well, I can't say we all do it. No, we don't.
Well, I think sometimes we got to kind of bounce. I try to think. I think that sometimes we have to kind of keep ourselves in check from doing that, overly doing it. Sorry, I just had to be devil's advocate there.
You just had to take up for Mama just for a second. I had a question though. But now, because I was looking here at the company that you're with, Cody, is it in Greenville?
Yeah, we have a location in Greenville.
Okay, because that's what I was looking at. Because I grew up HVAC because my dad is a wholesaler for HVAC equipment.
Don't ever go in there. I know the guy that runs the place for her. Don't ever go in there. It's terrible.
Refrigeration wholesale in Spartanburg.
Gotcha.
And but I was like looking, and how old is that company, or is it relatively new or anything? Just because I'm not familiar with it.
No, it's definitely an older company, established in 1903.
Wow.
In Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Traded ownership in, I think, the early 20s, I think 1923, and that's when it came ownership of the family now, and that's the Haley. So it's been in the family for 100 years. Mm-hmm. So it's an older company, well established in the Columbia area. That's the main location, but we also have a location in Greenville as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I pull for you guys no matter what you're doing, unless I'm involved in the deal somehow, Cody.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. I was curious. Do you guys do new construction, like, new construction, or is it more retrofit, like replacements and that sort of thing?
Both on that aspect, but I'm on the PM side of things.
Okay, so you're primarily looking for maintenance contracts and project work as well?
Some project work, but mostly just PM contracts. Things.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where it starts, Jenny.
What does that mean?
PM, preventative maintenance. So we're doing throughout the year, actually doing the long-term care on all the equipment itself.
You're like doing those quarterly checkups, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. And then, of course, throughout the year, if, any major malfunctions, things like that, we're also repairing things like that as well.
Now, are you just the one that sets that up and does the sales, or are you actually hands-on fixing?
No, so I just set everything up, making those contacts, everything like that. And then, of course, we have the right people, the technicians out there doing their stuff. Daniel knows, like, the HVAC, and as well, obviously, the HVAC side of things isn't something that you learn. This is the start of my 4th week. Haven't even been here a month yet.
Yeah.
So,
hey, but you've already got VFD, man. You're getting the acronyms down, and
PM on the LDC and the who.
Now you strike me as someone that probably like you say, you like to do things with your hands. So you've probably been tinkering and and doing a lot of things like that. I never was necessarily someone. I'm the guy that's yapping that mouth and not and not put. I'll tell y'all a story. When I was in site work construction, I did a lot of estimating and I did a lot of 3D models and storm drain system and things like that. And I enjoyed that part of it. But when I would go out into the field, it's a different ball game. You know, I mean, you see these things and you can understand it digitally, but then you get out in the field and you're looking around and you're like, it's hard to orient yourself and
Right.
things become totally different. Which way do you like to learn when it comes to that? Do you like using computers to aid in your knowledge?
So with the industry, definitely new to it, and just what I've learned throughout, lifelong is I like to be very detailed.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my law enforcement experience as well. I'm very detail oriented. So for me, I like going out to the site. I like going out and getting hands on. I like to put my hands on things. So the way I work is if I'm going out and I have a site survey coming up at the XYZ building, I go out there and I walk around, and I already know from my experience that, okay, I know where the chiller room is going to be. I know where the boiler room is going to be. I know where the RTUs will be, obviously. I know where most of the split systems will be. So I already I use like Google Maps, Measure Map, things like that. So I can go ahead and get an idea of where everything's going to be laid out. So mentally, I'm already, okay, I need to do this, 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 and this. So I can already have everything knocked out.
Yeah.
I'm all about
you
time.
Orient yourself where you don't feel like, because you go in these big facilities and it's like, okay. And if you're doing what Cody and I do, you want to talk about getting turned around?
Yeah, I mean, you get lost in some of these places quick.
You get lost, and you're like, wait a minute.
It's got to be different than just y'all sit there and see a paper and it's outlined what it is. But I would say, Cody, going in there and like actually seeing it with your, putting your hands on your eyes on it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
and you're just to say that you are detail oriented. Look at the history you just gave me of the company you're with. You know what I'm saying? It's like you do your due diligence. You're like, this is a 1902. It started in Columbia. I mean,
that will take you a long way. Speaking about strengths and weaknesses and that sort of thing, you're a hands-on guy and you're a detail guy. That means if we were playing Madden football and we were comparing attributes, yours would be a 99, mine would be like a 50.
I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner as well.
Oh,
I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Martial arts.
That's so cool. I want to learn that actually.
So,
will you?
It's an amazing tool. It's not just a physical activity.
Right.
It's not physical exercise. It is. It's an amazing cardio. You'll get in great shape. You'll get very strong. But exactly, Daniel, it is mental. It is nothing more than a mental challenge. Every single day you go and get on the mat and you start rolling around with these men and smaller and women as well, of course, and who are half your size, and they can just roll you up in a pretzel and
I want a woman to roll me up in a pretzel so bad.
I would have never. I mean, now look, just if we'd have crossed on the street or we'd done we never would have come across this information. That's what I love doing this. It's like, hey, where did that come from, Daniel? Did you even realize that about Cody?
I didn't know that, but what I will say, this is what's so cool. I've been wanting to do it, so I've made a calls and I've actually stopped in some places because yeah.
It is, and I apply jiu-jitsu to every day. Like when it comes to sales or life or anything,
discipline probably.
It's discipline. You have to be disciplined. You have to be focused, and you have to be just determined to reach your goal, whatever it is. But on top of that, with jiu-jitsu, it's a mind game. It's like chess. If you're not looking 5 to 7 steps ahead,
I know.
Like you're not going to be successful. And that's why I'm trying to take all these different, routes. Because like in jiu-jitsu, I'm a trap setter. That's just the way I like to play the game. As I'm not gonna overpower you. I'm strong, yeah, but I'm not gonna overpower you. I'm not gonna try to hurt someone. I'm gonna let you come to me. But I'm gonna set it up where, okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Well, when I do this, he's gonna do this, which he's gonna think I'm gonna do this. But in reality, I'm going the other way.
It's just like chess. Like you're saying, if I do this, then it's going to make him move that there and this and that.
Exactly. And that's all it is. So, but if you don't practice and you don't apply that, but not just to jiu-jitsu, if you take that jiu-jitsu, that discipline, that mindset, and you transfer that over to the sales cycle or like I said, even everyday life, it helps you with, to me, like it's time management. It's just
Do you teach that now, Cody?
No, I don't teach. I've only been doing it for 2 years, so I'm new. I'm not a black belt. I haven't been doing this for 10 years.
How did you get into it?
It's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's one of those things where I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. And then it's kind of prolonged for a long time. And one day I got the courage. It's not easy. Definitely, I'm a people person. I can go and build a rapport. I can talk to anyone. But going into a gym, putting on a white gi with a white belt, with 25 other people who've been doing it longer than you, who are assassins.
Yeah.
And you get out there.
My hands are sweating. Let's do it. I'm ready to go.
You get on the mat with these people, and it's just it's scary. But then when you start doing it, you're like, oh no, this is amazing. It's the best mental exercise and physical exercise as well. But it just transpires to so many things in life, I feel like.
Tell me something about this, because I don't really know anything about it. Because when my son, he's 27 now, but when he was a kid, he went to Aikido, and so because I didn't want him to learn to fight necessarily, maybe self-defense. I didn't want him out there,
picking fights.
Right,
so
absolutely.
Is this more like is this for fighting, or is this for self-defense? Is this for mental, that
all
kind
the above.
Okay.
It's for all the above. So it originated in Japan, and feudal Japan is what the samurais would have been practicing. It's something it's more of grappling. It's not a striking, it's not kicking, it's not punching necessarily. But what it is, it's a grappling mechanism, and it's more of on the ground wrestling. Not collegiate wrestling, but it's similar. But it's a grapple. So it's mostly learning about how to control your body, but on top of that, controlling your mind. And just once you can control your body, then you can control others. And that's the biggest thing. So like I said, I'm a trap setter, and that's what jiu-jitsu is. It's mostly self-defense. It's not like you're out punching people and know how to do that, head kicks, or, anything like that. It's if someone walked up to me and tried to throw a punch at me, I would know how to deflect that or just completely stop it. But then I'll have them on the ground, and I'll have them in an arm lock or a leg lock or a kimura, which is a shoulder lock. And before they even realize, whoa, I just swung a punch at this guy because I'm trying to start a fight with this dude for no reason. And next thing you know, they're unconscious. It's self-defense. It's learning how to, anything that's coming toward you, you control it.
If they start coming towards me, I'm going to pull up the move I learned from, Karate Kid and do my little crane, and then.
I'm not saying I'll be successful.
Now let's pretend that you and your family are downtown Spartanburg. I know you've got some kids. Diane, I'm going to do it.
You know what I'm thinking?
People are like, I'd like to see you do it. Well, you can see.
This is a field trip. This is a Jenny Winny the Average Dude field trip to go and
wanting to do it. Yeah. So maybe we can talk to Cody and find out where he goes.
Yeah, there's several places, and it's a great community as well.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. A lot of the people, I've heard similar stories. I've known some people and that have done it. Jeannie, you actually know some of the folks that I'm thinking about that do it, and I think there's something important. I think it hits, as you said, all the discipline and all that kind of controlling yourself, using your energy at the right time. But
it sounds like it also trickles over into what you do for business, Cody, because it seems like you anticipate what the customer's going to want. If I offer them this, they might ask about this. I mean, it does seem like you kind of use those same logical rules.
Yeah, I try to use the same discipline, like I say, jiu-jitsu or whatever, I've learned in life and experience. I genuinely try to use those in professional and personal in any way applicable. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I just move on to the next thing. Okay, this ain't working. What will work? And that's why I try to learn something new every day to make that flow of everything just a little bit better every single day.
Yes.
So you talked about volunteering and wanting to help others. So we know that you were a firefighter. I don't know if you're a volunteer firefighter or I don't know how that works, but
so growing up in Packlet, like I said, there's not a whole lot to do. So at a young age, I was 15. It was freshman year of high school, I believe. I was like, I really want to be involved in my community. I want to help. How? how can a 15-year-old possibly help his community?
Yeah.
I joined the fire department. I joined so it's called a junior firefighter program.
Okay.
Is what it's called. So you're underage, so you can't really do a whole lot.
Yeah.
They'll get you some turnout gear and a helmet, things like that. And you can run, MVAs or motor vehicle accidents, and you can go to like structure fires and wildland fires and things like that. But you couldn't go in. You couldn't,
Right.
can't do any internal things like that because I haven't had the training. But what I can start doing is what I did anyways was when I was 15, I was going on car wrecks, and there's one that I'll never forget. I was 15 years old, hadn't been doing this but a couple of months, and I went to, Pack's small community. There was a
Very
car
small.
and a pastor of a church passed away from this wreck, unfortunately.
Ah.
And I was 15, hadn't been doing it long, but here I was, a 15-year-old kid, freshman in high school, and I was consoling this person's wife and children on the side of the road of this accident. And I just felt like, okay, this is how I can help, is that I can learn to talk to people. I can learn, everything I need to learn and just console them.
Yes.
So I volunteered, went through high school, didn't get in fights, kept my nose clean, stayed under the radar, doing the right thing, graduated high school, went to the fire academy. I was a firefighter for the city of Gaffney, and I was a hazmat technician. So for BASF, which is a company, Daniel, I'm sure you're aware of, over on Southport Road. So my responsibility right out of high school was a firefighter and a hazmat technician. So my responsibilities were over hazardous materials and chemicals over this humongous corporation. So I had all this responsibility as a very young man.
Yeah.
So I just carried that over and went to law enforcement. And I just continued off of that, of just learning how to speak to people, how can I help this person. Sometimes it's, maybe a call of service where I was called out to help someone and I don't know what's going on, but as soon as I get there, I have to know.
Right.
You call me, so I'm here to help you. And there'll be times where I would stop and, how can I help this person? People on the side of the road, the tire blown out. I would always be that deputy with his lights off, making sure people didn't, run up on them, or, it's just one of those things. I've always tried to resonate with everyone and just kind of build off of how can I possibly help someone.
And you did that at a young age. I mean, to be 15 and think, how can I give back and help people? You have children. Do you kind of try to enforce, not enforce, but instill that in them?
Yeah, absolutely. I have amazing, beautiful children. I have a son who's Cody Jr. is my firstborn son. He has been doing jiu-jitsu for a little over a year. And
now, how old is he, Cody?
He just turned 5. He just turned 5 December 3rd, about 2 weeks ago. So he is just amazing.
Yeah.
And he's just my life experience that I've learned doing jiu-jitsu. I've transpired that over to him, and I'm so grateful for it because as a 5-year-old, the way that he walks and talks, he's just very confident. His shoulders are always real low back. Like he's always, he walks very confidently. Like he doesn't, the stress and the anxiety, things like that, he doesn't have because he already has that discipline. He's already training. He's already applying his mind and his body, and he's already working hard at a young age.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that's amazing. It is. Well, just to quote Diane there, that is amazing because honestly, at 5, you're already instilling that kind of confidence in him. And it's not just because daddy and mom say that you're the best. You know what I mean? Right. It's because he's out there learning these skills.
And watching him, as a parent, watching your children do any task, whatever it may be, and watching them fail is probably one of the hardest things as a parent. At least what I've learned as a parent, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch your kids fail. But on top of that, once they fail and they have enough discipline and they have the right mindset, because I've been helping them have that mindset, and they succeed at what they were failing at, that is probably the best feeling as a parent or a human being, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Is just watching them just be successful because they didn't give up. And I find that's a huge problem today, is just a lot of people just give up quickly.
They do.
They just kind of quit. But just watching my kids just be successful, and like him, as a 5-year-old, he can go out there and do a beautiful AA takedown on another 5-year-old, and it's flawless. Like he can do some things better than I can.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like he's 5.
Yeah.
But he's amazing.
So you got 2 boys, a boy and a girl, or what?
I have 5 altogether. I have 3 girls and 2 boys.
3 girls and 2 boys. Let's go. Got a basketball
They
team.
are right here.
Wow.
So this is Cody Jr. and this is my newest son. This is Augustus Reed.
Oh,
Beautiful.
And then this is Nola Ruth, Scout, and then my oldest daughter, Abilene.
Oh my goodness. You've got
And
your
how old is your oldest daughter?
She's 10.
10. Okay.
Hey,
Yep.
you've got your own Steiner Braves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What I'm trying to do is get my whole team of Steiner Jiu-Jitsu, but the daughters don't want nothing to do with it.
Okay, I have a question. Is Scout named after To Kill a Mockingbird?
That's what a lot of people ask. Honestly, it was just the name that we finally. It was our 3rd daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the only name that we could finally agree on.
I love it though. It makes me.
Cody, any more kids, man? Are you done?
I'm done.
Hey, don't say it so confidently there. Cody's like, I'm done.
Hey, that's exactly when number 6 cup is on the way.
5 is a lot, especially in today's age. I'm grateful for every single one of them. I love.
I think that's beautiful, man. I mean, I think getting your child involved in something like you say, that does give them a lot of confidence and the discipline and all those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have had that. I wish that to put 8. I mean, it'd be great for my son as well. So that's awesome. Great. I've got a little pretend. I want to start putting kind of let's pretend, right? I want to do a little segment. Let's pretend. So you've been in law enforcement, you've been a firefighter, you've been out in the community, you probably talk to community leaders, you're a good communicator, you're in sales. So let's pretend that Cody is, I don't know, he's the mayor of Spartanburg. And we bring you a problem. Let's say it's the problem of homeless population. We're getting overly populated. What is your approach? Not necessarily the way that you're going to solve it. How would you begin the process of looking at that sort of situation based on all your experience? And I'm sure you talk to homeless folks sometimes as a cop.
That's such a tough answer. That's a tough one. Just like sales or anything else, I would have to do my research on it, right away. But I guess the biggest thing is, what do the numbers of the homeless look like? What are the existing opportunities for them to not be homeless? Is the city of Spartanburg, are we doing the right things to make sure that they have the opportunity? And what else can we do to further that opportunity? And of course, any immediate, relief or help, that would be something also to look into. But I know how the world's crazy right now, just with the homeless and, all these, issues in the world and things. I don't know if there'd be an easy fix for that.
I don't think so anytime soon. Yeah, just trying.
My big thing is helping. If we can get enough people to help, if we can.
And I think, Cody, what the problem is that people want to help, and then you have those that you're like, oh man, they have literally tried everything, and they're trying, and then you have some though it seems like. You can't say, well, they're not trying, but then you have just like, hey, you know what? Somebody will take care of me. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's so frustrating because it's like you've got people that really just need a break. They just need that break.
And I feel like a lot of people, a big issue is like accountability is, we have these programs and these things set up, but like, how much of it is really being truly used to help the homeless? And that's the biggest thing. I think
accountable. That's it.
I think we have a lot of people who don't have discipline and they get these, positions of power or whatever it may be, these decision-making skills, but they don't know how to make don't know how to make a decision because they don't know, they don't have a cycle of the decision-making process. Like bow hunting. If you don't know how to shoot a bow, that you have to have a shot cycle. You have to know how to do it. And you have to have a process mentally and physically where everything lines up all at the same time. Mm-hmm. If more people had that, I guess that discipline of, we have to learn how to make a decision, but also the steps to make a decision.
To make a good decision.
And that goes with accountability is that, there's people who aren't, being held accountable and they're getting in these positions, then they're just going to run amok. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. And also I feel that we need more caring and loving people. I definitely don't think that there's enough of that in this world. No. This is my opinion, of course, but if people were more trustworthy and more genuine, and they actually, you have to live off of empathy. If you have empathy and you can resonate with those people and you're empathetic, you can help them. It's just, do you want to help them? You have the discipline to help someone. And that's why I try to make sure. And like my kids, I teach them all the time. Help. Somehow, some way. If there's a kid at school, help them.
Yes.
If it's something that you need help with, ask for help.
Yep.
Everyone's going to help. You just got to find the person.
Yeah.
I've got one more question for Cody. Okay. I am putting together. So one of the things that I'm working on currently, I'm going to do a round table with some HVAC folks. And that's might be, a facility manager, maybe some HVAC salespeople like us, Gary, who does the HVAC know-it-all podcast to kind of show that social media side. And I want to have a discussion. We'll invite all our competitors, Cody. But anybody in the HVAC world to just have let's talk about the business. Let's talk about. Tell me how you would see that sort of conversation going, or any ideas that you would have of what that would make a valuable conversation out of that.
I definitely think it'd be a valuable conversation. Now, I don't know what I could bring to the table necessarily on the HVAC.
Well, the new side, like everybody's got a perspective.
But also, Cody, you've got the questions. I feel like you can ask the questions that will promote the conversation. Daniel might answer it one way. Somebody else says, "Oh, well, Daniel, that's a good idea, but this." I don't know. I feel like you could also bring things to the table that they're not going to think about right off.
Well, maybe we do it like this. We have somebody that's brand new to HVAC. Yeah. I've got a guy down in Atlanta that's been in it for 30 years. He's a sales manager for a company down in Atlanta, Cody. So we bring him on. So you've got Cody just starting out.
I'm definitely in. I'll definitely participate. I have a million questions for sure on that side of things. So
I'm just kind of formulating that. I wanted to kind of pick your mind on what might be something. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So manufacturing masterminds is the new kind of, I call it umbrella or shoebox that we're doing those sorts of fun things in. So a lot to come.
Cody, if you hadn't have said, wow, this dude on this podcast, let me just see he's from Spartanburg. What? And then you called, and then now we've all made connections with each other, and going forward, it's just like, it's just one more person that we know that we have in our network,
in the upstate area.
In the upstate.
Yeah, upstate. I still can't believe.
I know.
I pulled him up on LinkedIn, and it said Spartanburg. I was like, no.
I was like, so no. Cool. Funny enough, one of our technicians watched that same episode. I didn't realize that some of the technicians and other people is doing really great. So people in the HVAC watch his podcast, and one of the technicians came up and said, I didn't tell him about it. He said, "Hey, I heard you on HVAC Know-It-All," and I thought, well, that was cool, man. You do things and you don't know who might be listening or how it may impact them or whatever the case might be. So,
absolutely.
So I appreciate
me for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Cody, thanks for jumping on with us. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And we'll be in touch soon. I want to do some jiu-jitsu. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Hey, have a good day.
Take care. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much.
Well, there we go. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun. I say, though, you know what? So let's see. What is next Thursday? What's the date of next Thursday, Daniel?
It'll be the 21st, I think.
The 21st. I say we do a field trip.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
Yeah. Time to get out. But now we've talked about that. We're going to be doing some things. We have some fun things. We appreciate that, Diane. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for the comments.
Yeah,
and we're excited because I know that Jenny, we've talked about this. We kind of, I've got the average dude, you're the Jenny Winny, and we've got some fun things that we're hoping are going to come together.
Got to bring them all together.
Yeah. So hey, amen to that. I like Cody as well, and it was so cool. Yeah. So I got the call that day, and I was like, this number. I was like, I didn't recognize the way it came in. I took it and he said, yeah, I'm in HVAC sales. I work for WB. I'm like, Okay.
What a good guy, though. He just seemed like a good, genuine guy.
Oh,
That's somebody
absolutely.
that I would trust, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, do I know him? No, I don't. But just
What's
talk.
amazing, I spoke to him for like 5 minutes on the phone. I knew him to be the guy that we had on here like
Just
that.
like
Like,
that.
you know what you're getting.
Yep.
There wasn't no doubt about it. And hey, if those are the folks that we're competing against, then
That's
it's
great.
hard. It's hard to be hard, ain't it?
Yeah.
So,
It is.
all right, Jenny. I hope you feel better. I know you're in some pain.
Listen, like you said, just put it out of your mind. It's just nothing but it's gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, have a great day. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.